There are a lot of artists that have a lot of lost media. You have stuff like Nirvana's found demo of Opinion, Green Day's album Cigarettes and Valentines, and Blink-182's original video for Josie. However, the band for today's video has a whole plethora of lost media. They Might Be Giants. Formed in 1982 in Brooklyn, New York, They Might Be Giants was founded by one John Flansburgh and one John Linnell. Having a discography that spans over 23 studio albums, they have a very lengthy history. Everything from getting the guy who designed Parappa the Rapper characters to make the art for their first album, to making the theme song to Malcom in the Middle, to making some of the most iconic children's songs, They Might Be Giants is a force to be reckoned with, goddammit. However, despite all these noticeable accomplishments, They Might Be Giants has had a lot of stuff fall in between the cracks and become lost over the years. Whether it be an old TV appearance or an entire soundtrack for a kids movie, They Might Be Giants has a lot of stuff that is lost to the public, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, without any more waiting, let's talk about some They Might Be Giants lost media. To start us off, let's talk about They Might Be Giants' lost cover of a song called Don't Worry Coco. In the late 1970s, while the two were still teenagers in high schools, they recorded a cover of them singing the song. One of the reasons why this tape is so highly regarded in the They Might Be Giants community is because it is one of the first, if not the first, recording the two ever did before the band even formed. However, it was recorded on a tape on Flansburgh's reel-to-reel machine, and it's unknown if the tape is even still around. When asked in 2020 about the status of the tape in a Tumblr post, John Flansburgh had this to say: "It's hard to say the tape has even made it through the years. It has not been stored in a completely temperature-controlled environment, and although reel-to-reel tape is often remarkably resilient, surviving 40, 50, 60 years at 100%, some media is not well made as others, and when I was a kid, I could only afford the cheap stuff. Where it stands now is the tape isn't found, and chances are, it probably won't be. Assuming the damn thing still even exists, they're probably not gonna go out their way to find it and then digitize it. However, it could still happen, and we won't know until we find out. What if I were to tell you that they just don't have one lost song, but a whole lost soundtrack for an animated kids film?" Released in 2009 and directed by Harry Selick, Coraline is a stop-motion film that was aimed at teenagers. While it did get a PG rating and is ultimately received as a kids movie, let's be real, this shit is not a kids film. The film was released by Lakeia Animation Studios, had like 1 or 2 video games, and it was composed by Bruno Coleas. What if I were to tell you though that the soundtrack was originally going to be composed by They Might Be Giants? You see, you probably would be surprised if that was new information. However, not only has it been known for years, but an infinitely better YouTuber, Nintendo, has already made a video on it. So if you want some more detail on this topic, go watch his video. To give a brief rundown on this topic, however, They Might Be Giants was hired to make the entire soundtrack to the film, but due to disagreements over how the song sounded, they ended up quitting. What ended up happening was one song made it into the film, and that was the Nirvana song sung by John Linnell. One of their songs, called Careful What You Pack, was made for the film, however, it then was put on one of their albums or some shit, and they were also going to sing over one of the songs in the movie, however they didn't, and the original version was used instead. Seemingly there was more material made for this, however the Johns have made it clear that they aren't going to release it. Another thing they have seemingly made clear is that they're not going to release a music video they filmed for their first album.
Lord, please don't take me away.
Okay, for a quick little history lesson, They Might Be Giants has made several albums, however their first was their self-titled debut, released in 1986. It has 19 songs on it, however the songs Put Your Hand Inside the Puppet Head, Don't Let's Start, and She Was a Hotel Detective have had music videos. They're all pretty good. I mean, Put Your Hand Inside the Puppet Head has some goofy dances, Don't Let's Start's kind of just them running around a big-ass stadium, and She Was a Hotel Detective has some pretty nice animation at times. And however, due to the director of these videos, Adam Bernstein actually went on to go direct a couple more They Might Be Giants music videos from their future albums. However, the band had a music video for the song called Rabid that wasn't directed by Adam, but instead directed by John Flansburgh. It was recorded in Flansburgh's apartment, and it features him grabbing onto a wall and then John Linnell playing an accordion with like some red thing on his head. Another thing is that the version of the song used here is seemingly the one from the 1985 demo tape, which has slightly different drums and less reverb, which suggests this actually might be earlier than the album. However, when the video was finished and the band watched it, it didn't really live up to their standards, so they didn't release it. And it is staying that way. The full video is still not available, however a like 12-second clip of it is available in a documentary called Gigantic, A Tale of Two Johns. The band has made it explicitly clear that they do not want to release this, so we are not seeing this most likely. This next topic I'm going to talk about is not even lost media, it's more of a little bonus I'm going to throw in really quickly. So They Might Be Giants was playing a live show on October 5th in 1992 in Milwaukee, and they were performing the song The Most Famous Polka. Sometime into the song, John Flansburgh told the audience, "We would like you for this one brief moment to disregard the fire loss and feel free to just come up on the stage and help us out with the famous polka." However, when 75 goddamn people went up to the stage and started dancing, the whole stage just sort of collapsed. Around 17 people sustained minor injuries. However, the show did not stop, and after the song was finished, or aborted, they played Chesapeake's Face. The funniest part is that this incident was recorded, and it was bootlegged commonly back in the 90s, and now it's watchable readily on YouTube.
I was just talking about the aisles, folks.
It low-key sucks that this happened, but I mean, hey, at least it made for a funny YouTube video and no one got seriously hurt. However, hopping back into the topic of lost media, we only have a couple more topics, like this really weird little DVD compilation. In 2009, They Might Be Giants' management team, the Hornblower Group, released a DVD for the industry called Industry and Servicing Melody. It had contained a lot of the compositions that They Might Be Giants had made for commercials, television shows, venues, and children. However, this disc was never meant for the public and was only meant for a showcase to record labels. This had a very limited release, and for a long time the public just couldn't listen what was on this, and it wasn't until someone in the Miscellaneous T Facebook group ripped the DVD from their collection and uploaded it to YouTube. It's pretty cool that people can listen to it now, but there's not too much I can really say about this. Now it's time for us to move on to our last and final topic. Okay, real quick for some context, the Joe Franklin Show was a show that ran from 1950 to 1993 and is known as like the oldest television talk show. And you might be wondering how They Might Be Giants even tie into this. Well, They Might Be Giants has a lot of general just television appearances. This band has been on a lot of television. They've been on ABC, they've been on BBC, they've even been on fucking Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. They've been on so many television networks where it'll be a talk show with some cartoons. However, they apparently were on the Joe Franklin Show. They appeared on the show in 1985, so before the release of their first album, and not much is known about the episode they had appeared on because, get this, it's lost. Now, thankfully, we do have a clip and like 2 screenshots of them on the show. However, this episode and seemingly other appearances they might have even had on the show are lost. Does not help that the band themselves seemingly don't remember it too well, as in a documentary, John Linnell had explained.
Shot in the same studio as Romper Room, and in fact, they just had one set on one side of the room and the other on the other. So we sat in Joe's set and looking across the room at the Romper Room set, which seemed particularly surreal.
Yeah, this is like 7-foot don't be kind of hanging over your head while you're on the very smooth and modern Joe Franklin set.
Bits of information, nothing else is known about these episodes. Something I do want to say before I wrap this segment up is, for all I know, or for all we know, They Might Be Giants could have appeared on several other TV talk shows. I mean, think about it. This was in 1985 before their first album had even released, and they weren't even popular until Flood. So hypothetically speaking, they could have appeared on multiple just public television New York talk shows. Thank you so much for watching this video. It has been really interesting to see and at least research this They Might Be Giants lost media because they're one of my favorite bands. Also, thank you for watching the Nirvana video. It means a lot to me that that video actually did as well as it did. And also, I need to give a big thank you to the Lost Media Wiki and This Might Be a Wiki for a lot of the information I got for this video. Until next time, this has been Ghostak. See ya.